Hello, everyone. Hi, everyone. Happy Father's Day today. Today is Father's Day of 2023, and we are excited to bring to you this another interesting video today, guys. We want to say this is our US and Canada immigration news info channel, and so should you be interested in US and Canada immigration uh, news or information around any changes that is happening within the immigration procedures because it's changing every blessed day, every minute, every second, and it's affecting millions of lives, guys. And so, if you are interested in these topics, you may want to continue watching the video then. And to say that, we want to say a big thank you, shout out to our continuous subscribers. We are in a journey of hitting the next level of subscribers to 700 subscribers. We are currently at 600, and so we want to thank you guys for what you have been doing. And if you are new on this channel, guys, please you want to kindly subscribe because we have an amazing and interesting videos that are trending on this channel. And should you find it helpful, you want to subscribe because you do not want to miss any of these videos that we do make out there every day, guys. And just to say that you guys are the reason why we do what we do. We've been seeing a lot of comment, a lot of message of appreciation. We want to say thank you for everything. All right, let's jump right into it, guys. So today we have an amazing, another interesting update. Okay, so this update is regarding employment authorization that is based on compelling circumstances. So, a couple of days ago, uh, the United States Citizenship and Immigration Services made another uh, provision of a guidance on employment authorization documents that is based on compelling circumstances. Okay, so that is another topic for today. So, this is another guidance. So, they went ahead. They reviewed the policy manual on this document and decided to make that additional guidance on exactly what it is, what you need to know about it, and how, and to tell you uh, if you're an applicant, the specific criteria that you should be into before you can consider uh, applying for this benefit, guys. So it says USCIS provides a guidance on employment authorization documents based on compelling circumstances. So before we proceed to look at what the guidance is saying, guys, we want to understand what is employment authorization documents based on compelling circumstances. Okay, so compelling circumstances, okay, it's just a factor that that may be considered in certain immigration cases. Okay, so it's just a factor that may be considered in certain immigration cases. So um although USCIS does not specifically give an explicit definition of that compelling circumstances. Okay, so it depends. So it goes for case by case. Okay, so uh, what will happen is sometimes people will run into situations and that they are unable to comply or maybe to fulfill a specific requirement that is expected of he or she or maybe that applicant, and then so because of that extraordinary circumstances, then the USCIS may look into that case, depending on the case, and they can choose to use that discretion of considering that situation to be a compelling circumstance in order to adjudicate your situation or to uh, grant you that benefit. Okay, so uh, generally we will say that it could be an event, okay, that um, are extraordinarily an extraordinary event, or maybe that is outside of your control. Okay, it's outside of that individual's control. Sometimes it could be war. It could be sometime because maybe you came visiting to the United States and maybe war break out in your country and you are unable to return to your country sooner like you did plan to because of that war situation. Or sometimes it can be a natural disaster, right? Sometimes because you hear about earthquake, you happen in some locations because of one thing or the other, you know. And sometimes it can be even a hurricane, okay? You could come over to United States, maybe you want to go to school, and while in school, maybe hurricane is hitting across sometimes in multiple states, like it happened in Mississippi yesterday, uh, where over dozens of people were severely injured in in a hurricane. I mean, in a tornado. Yep, in a tornado, and one person has been killed. So those are extraordinary circumstances. Okay, that someone can be like, okay, this is a compelling circumstance. Okay, so um, and it could be even an armed conflict situation. Okay, a war can break out, like I talked about it already. So, and those are the circumstances that an individual may want to say, okay, yeah, I'm in a compelling situation. I can't be able to meet up with this specific. I may not be able to comply with this immigration requirement at this time. So, when that individual now is faced with maybe that compelling circumstance, they may request, okay, a discretionary relief, or they may request an application for employment authorization. Because when you are faced with this compelling circumstance, you may find yourself in a situation where you are in the United States, you cannot work because you do not have uh, work authorization, and you are in a compelling circumstance. So you can go ahead and apply for your employment authorization based on this circumstance. You came visiting to the United States, maybe earthquake, war, or maybe anything. It could be maybe you lost someone, okay? You lost someone that you were solely depending on, and so you can meet up with that uh, immigration requirement at that specific moment. So you can go ahead, apply for this work authorization, employment authorization, using this compelling circumstance, okay, and it's going to be um, at the discretion of USCIS to choose to either grant for you this benefit or choose not to grant for you the benefit. Okay, so that is exactly what it is. So um, let's go ahead then and then look at the circumstances that USCIS has aligned that, okay, you must not be in this specific situation. And so if you are in that situation, you shouldn't apply for that compelling uh, work authorization application. So let's go ahead and look at this the publication then. So it says that U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services today releases a policy guidance on eligibility criteria for initial and renewal application for Employment Authorization Documents, EAD, in compelling circumstances based on existing regulatory requirement. Okay, so understand that this is just this public policy guidance is on initial employment authorization application or renewal of employment authorization based on compelling circumstances. Okay, let's proceed. What does it say? It says for an applicant to be eligible for an initial EAD based on compelling circumstances, they must meet the following eligibility requirements. Okay, they must meet the following eligibility requirement. So you want to be sure that we follow up with the guidance uh, from within the lines. Let's not miss any single understanding about it. So the first eligibility requirement is that the principal applicant is the principal beneficiary of an approved Form I-140 immigration petition for alien workers in either the first, second, or third employment based preference category. Okay, so this is uh, uh, when an employer chooses to petition for uh, an alien worker. Okay, when an employer chooses to petition for an alien worker, that is what they call from I-140. So if you are a beneficiary of that from I-140 and either in the first, second, and third employment based preference category, then you are you can go ahead and apply for that employment authorization based on compelling circumstances. All right. The second eligibility criteria is the principal applicant is in a valid E3, H1B, H1B1, H, I mean, O1, okay, or L1 non-immigrant status or authorized grace period when they file for the Form I-765 application for the employment authorization. So if you are a holder of an E3, H1B, H1B1, O1, or L1 non-immigrant based visa, and you're currently in the United States, and those visas are still in the valid status, and you are in a compelling circumstance situation, or maybe you have maybe something is costing you that you're going to stay for longer, or maybe you are here on a visit and someone you depended on to support you maybe has passed away, or maybe you have been affected by any of the disaster. It could be tornado. Yeah. Sorry, guys. Sometimes I miss this up. So it can be tornado. It can be maybe flood. It can be hurricane. Any of this. It may have messed up the house that you guys are staying in, and you are now faced in a predicament, and that you need to work in order to support maybe your your maybe to support yourself. Okay, so obviously if your visa is still in a valid status and you face yourself in this kind of situation, or sometimes it may be that something, an armed conflict that break out in your country and all of that, so you can be be able to go ahead, use this eligibility criteria, and apply for your employment authorization. Let's look at the third eligibility criteria. The principal applicant has not filed an adjustment of status application. Yes. So you must not have filed in the Form I-485. If you have a pending Form I-485, you won't be granted the employment authorization based on the compelling circumstance. Okay, so take note of that. And the next one is an immigrant visa is not available to the principal applicant based on the applicant's priority date according to the relevant final action date in the US. The Department of State Visa Bulletin or is in effect. Okay, so you must not have any um, an immigrant visa that is available for you. Okay, so if you have an immigrant, if you have an immigrant visa that is available for you, or maybe based on the priority date according to the relevant final action date, then you will not be eligible. The next one is the applicant and their dependents provide biometrics as required. Okay, okay, yep. So they'll provide biometric as required. Then they said the next one is the applicant as well. Yep, you must not. Okay, the applicant and their dependents must not have been convicted of any felony. Obviously, guys, you must demonstrate a good moral character. You cannot drive without a driver license or drive under the influence of alcohol, okay, or drive under the influence of any substance, right? Or as well as be um, uh, okay, you not having a good moral character. So obviously you won't get that. And also, if USCIS determines as the matter of discretion that the principal applicant demonstrate compelling circumstances that justifies the issuer of employment authorization. So that's one of the requirements. So USCIS must have also determined that there is actually a compelling circumstance that you, the applicant, is going through, and before you can be granted that benefit. So, so it is important that you also consider that that is a discretional uh, provision. So, if USCIS do not find that uh, your claim for being in a compelling circumstance is not valid or is not justified, then they will choose not to grant, not to take the discretion to grant for you that benefit, guys. So make sure that you have your papers lined up, evidence, and make sure you have a letter explaining exactly what happened, including your application, including photos, including sometimes you can include even videos, right? You can include videos, upload the video, or maybe take some videos about it, upload it on YouTube, and use the link and include it in your letter or in the application. So you will need to write an extra letter, right? When you're doing this application, make sure you write in an extra letter to explain exactly what happened, photos, affidavit of supports, like someone testifying, hey, I am aware that this situation happened to this applicant name A on this date, this time, and this is the video, and this is what happened, this is the pictures, and this is what happened. That is how you prove for those circumstances. And sometimes you, if you maybe if it's a situation that is maybe tornado or hurricane and all of that, you want to make sure that you want to include the leasing agreement, the leasing agreement of that house that maybe was ravaged by tornado or by hurricane for any one reason or the other. So you want to include that leasing agreement and state the date and time that the tornado did happen. And USCIS, the officer, the adjudication officer, they are super smart, they are professional. Sometimes so it sounds funny when I say they are professional, right? Because sometimes they really act like crazy. Yeah, they're really crazy sometimes. But the good ones, they will take that discretion to check on YouTube and news websites, and to be sure that what you're explaining, what you are explaining, matches what you are talking about. That absolutely there was tornado that happened in this location. This is your leasing agreement, and this leasing agreement aligns with the location that this happened in that address, right? And that's how you prove it, guys, so that you won't maybe not be granted the benefit, and you start maybe feeling like, oh, my case was not granted, my case was not granted, or USCIS is discriminating with my application. So those are the things that you want to consider. Yeah, this is an important update because it's something that is affecting like millions of people, especially with the weather and climate change that is going on at this time, with all the disaster that is happening, armed conflict going on across the world. Listing, you can talk about even some of the countries across Latin America, Haiti. You can talk about maybe Venezuela. I don't know for if there's some form of armed conflict in Venezuela, but El Salvador and Honduras as well. You know, there are some uh, natural uh, crisis that they go through sometimes, especially Honduras. So as well as maybe even Ukraine right now, because um, someone who maybe came from Ukraine visiting the United States and is currently stuck in the United States because of the armed conflict that is going on in Russia and Ukraine, and you are not working, you don't have an employment authorization, so you want to use uh, these compelling circumstance uh, situation to apply for your employment authorization and make that request. And obviously, if you meet up with all the necessary uh, eligibility criteria that has been listed in this policy guidance, then you should be able to have your employment authorization, guys. Yes. So if you find this video helpful, I mean, you want to share it with your relatives, right? You may have someone that is going through this situation. If you know someone that is going through this situation, kindly share the video with those people, because it's going to change their life, right? It will change their life, because sometimes information, we do this for information purposes, and to also make sure that because sometimes the publications are made and we don't have access to it, we don't know exactly where to go check it from. But we understand that there is tons of fans on YouTube that are absolutely searching for stuff and information on YouTube. So that's why we can make some of these videos available for you guys in video formats. Okay, so let's look at what it says further. So it said the guidance covers compelling circumstances for principal applicants and their dependents, right? And their dependents, and provides a non exhaustive list of situations that could lead to a finding that is compelling, right? Any finding it has is provide a list of circumstances, and then it says including serious illness, disaster, employer dispute, right? Right? You can have an employer that did maybe you came in on employment visa and maybe you find yourself in an employer dispute, maybe some other form of visa, H1B, H1B1, and you have an employer dispute, and the employer chooses not to want to sponsor you any longer. This is crazy, right? Some employers they will not. Sometimes they want to pay you so low, so low, just simply because they are uh, they are maybe petitioning for H1B for you. So the one that's sponsoring you for H1B. And so sometimes you run into some dispute with these employers, they will throw you out and they will discontinue the case. And once that happens, you will be in a frustrating situation and you will not find it easy. And that is a serious, uh, compelling circumstance that you want to really make use of um, this compelling circumstance category of employment authorization application. And it goes further to say, yep, so we have employers dispute or maybe uh, retaliations, other substantial harm to the applicant or significant disruption to the employer, right? Because some employer they may genuinely run into a situation where they can be able to continue with your application. So that can happen. As well as they can also you can run they say the guidance also provides details on evidence of an application code. Maybe they say evidence could be submit. Okay, yeah, this is we talked about the evidence, right? To submit to demonstrate that situation. For example, principal applicant with an approved immigrant visa petition in an uh, oversubscribed visa category or chargeability area or has lived in the United States for a significant amount of time could submit evidence such as school or higher education enrollment records, mortgage records, or long-term lease records, right, to support potential findings of compelling circumstances. Compelling circumstances are, they said, could include if due to job loss, the family may otherwise be forced to sell their home for a loss, okay, or pull their children out of school and all of that. Those are all compelling circumstances, guys. And we don't want to make the video to be too long. Please, if you find this video helpful, you want to share with your loved ones, you want to share with those who need the video, and kindly subscribe, guys, because we will continue to do our best and committed to give you just the right information that you need and at any time. And kindly feel free put your comments in the comment section below, and we will be more than happy to help you um, answer the questions and to say that as a disclaimer, this is not a legal advice. All we do here is based on our findings, based on our experience on cases that we worked on. We did share our contact, and we do have lawyers in the United States as well as lawyers in Canada. So we do work with immigration firms. If you need any help and need any immigration lawyer, kindly reach out and we'll be more than happy to help you. All right. Do have a wonderful evening. Take care of yourself and each other. Thank you for watching.